Let me tell you something. I am not a completionist, in the slightest. I'm not a consistent video gamer. I like to play games at my own pace, usually obsessively and one at a time until all the dopamine runs out and I close it down one day and never open it again. I wasn't blessed with the productive hyperfixation ADHD that allows me to complete every aspect of a game, like my brother who likes to 100% all the Souls-like games, or my cousin who also likes to 100% all the Souls-like games, but also has a 40-page Word document on how to speedrun Hollow Knight blindfolded for some reason. No, I was cursed with the prefrontal cortex of a bewildered goblin. So when I say that I completed a game 100%, it meant something to me. It was a core experience as to who I am today, as a gamer. So what game, you may ask, did this very significant and triumphant feat of skill take place in? Well, I'm talking, of course, about Lady in a Leotard with a Gun. You know, that one. This experience can be likened to combining the absolute pinnacle of game design with that guy from The Room. Lady in a Leotard with a Gun will set you back a whopping 50 cents on the PlayStation Store, but thanks to my incredible and luxurious connections, I actually got the game for free. If you're interested, I highly recommend picking it up immediately, as Honey has just let me know that there's been a staggering 104% price increase over the last 30 days.
What will the cost of living crisis take from us next?
Now let me tell you, this game does not waste a single fucking second in astral projecting you into a world of complete, abstract terror, as this screen flashbangs you the second you hit play. Thankfully, however, it doesn't last too long before we're pulled into the sheer grace of this game's title screen, where we can finally get to see the lady in question. Oh, just look at that stance, that lack of post-processing glow, that hair like Gunjack from Tekken. It is here we're given the optimal amount of decisions that any game should ever provide you. 2. Well, technically 3 because we have invert 4 axis, but I'm just gonna ignore that one. You'll find the typical new game and continue options, but you'll see there's a complete lack of a settings menu. It appears that accessibility did not make it into this game's hefty budget. Take that, colorblind people. We also get a controls menu that looks like it should be hung up in a modern art museum, and a small shout out to Tim Beek, who you will soon find out was the most talented person on the team. Pressing continue does absolutely nothing if you've not played before, so congratulations on getting that one correct. But pressing new game plummets you into the first level faster than you're mentally able to process it, triggering an immediate sense of panic with the intensity of a neurotic prey animal. You now find yourself in what I like to call the backrooms from Temu. My immediate first impression is that it feels like I've gotten lost on the way to a Wetherspoon's bathroom, and that was a British joke. For the Brits. Now, before we look any further from these shadows here that look like they were taken straight out of a game from an Atari 2600, I'm going to take some time to talk to you about level design. See, level design by definition is supposed to intricately guide the player from A to B by seamlessly incorporating assets to create a fluent but challenging experience. We can reference the work of Koichi Hayashida, a longtime producer and director of multiple Mario titles. Hayashida mentions being heavily inspired by a concept known as Kisho Tenketsu, a Japanese name for a type of formal poetry that became popularized in 9th century China. Hayashida uses this method by splitting his levels into 4 different parts, similar to the structure of the poetry. Part 1 would be introducing a new game mechanic in a safe environment, getting the player used to how it works and feels. The mechanic is then used in a more challenging way, introducing a punishment for getting it wrong. Part 3 will put a twist on that mechanic, and 4 will act as the climax, as you use all the skills that you've just learned combined. This unique and meaningful blend between game and poetry just goes to show that inspiration for good game design can come from where you least expect it. And when you take that inspiration and bring it over to Lady in a Leotard with a Gun, you can clearly see that this is just one long corridor, and they haven't learned a single thing that I just spoke about. You know, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe it was a mistake to do my first video on a game like this. Like, there's just nothing to talk about. It's just boxes and whatever the hell these guys are. I don't know. Maybe I should have done something different. This is never gonna work. I need to get my head straight. Yeah, I need to go and play a real game. This is gameplay. This is a real game. This is what separates the boys from the men. After returning from a quick break of being hunted down by rigid bodies piloted by the LaCroix of scripts, the game has decided to come at me with the rejected cast of Disney on Ice. Oh, this next level's great, because you encounter the game's first
boss.
Now, this boss wasn't given a name, so I'm taking the liberty of giving them one myself, and I'm keeping with the theme here, so I've decided to go with slowly approaching man with a flamethrower. This might be a good time to mention that there's almost zero feedback for both firing your gun and hitting an enemy, so you just have no clue most of the time whether or not you're actually landing a hit, and then eventually they just, I don't know, sneeze and die. What makes it even worse is that the reticle is the size of a single pixel, and almost the entire time you're playing, you can't see it anyway. I mean, seriously, in order to stop my retinas from burning up into the sun from trying to see this goddamn thing, I had to stick a piece of paper over my TV with a little dot in the middle of it so I could actually see better. Despite all that, if you can manage to outrun Lightning McQueen over here, all you need to do is place a few well-aimed caps in his ass before he just, I don't know, has enough, I guess? And by a few, I mean at least 20, because things in this game either have way too much health or die in one hit, because the game developer needed to simulate difficulty. Next up, we have what appears to be Baby's first FPS map, and also this game's first attempt at a level which isn't just a long box with some enemies plonked into it. Very nice game, very cool. And then it's just straight back to long box, although this one contains a small party of big burly men. Feels like I'm stuck in a theatre break room with the cast of Magic Mike. Oh, but this is when the game hits you with the old curveball. Because just when you start to feel comfortable, just when things start getting a little predictable, you're pulled straight back into abstract terror when this thing sprints on you at all fours like a baby trying to throw itself towards the sharpest table corner, and suddenly you're recounting your sins and shutting the electricity off from your house. Seriously, this thing lives rent-free in my nightmares, and it is the only time it is used like this in the whole game. It's the first thing this game has done to make me feel anything other than confusion. Why? After successfully purging yourself of your inner demons, the developer of this game must have moved on to the How to Use Blender part of the game design course they were taking, as we've now officially made it out of Square Corridor Hell and entered into Corridor Hell Oops All Polygons. It is here we make our way through the long winding room with branching paths leading to multiple dead ends with the absolute appropriate amount of enemies in it, and then after that is a 2D side-scrolling section with, you guessed it, more default assets. Oh no, I appear to have fallen. I appeared to have fallen.
Hello?
Yeah, so as it turns out, the 2D side-scrolling section, which requires 2D side-scrolling, doesn't have a fucking death plane. So when you die, you just gotta restart the level. You gotta go back onto the menu. You gotta do that on the 2D side-scrolling level. Oh, but where are my manners? This was supposed to be about me 100%ing the game, no? You may be asking yourself, how does somebody 100% this immaculate masterpiece of a game? Well, simple really. Besides the one hidden achievement, the goal is to simply beat every level without taking damage, so pretty easy, right? No. It was easy. Up until the developer decided, you know what? Slow moving bullets? No. Why don't we spice it up a little, you know? Give it a little bit more pizzazz, a little bit more oomph. Why don't we give these dudes, I don't know, homing grenade launchers? And then we'll stick the player on a tiny moving platform. Fuck you. So, you fought your way through Corridor Hell, taken on the likes of slowly approaching man with a flamethrower, and emerged victorious, dealt with the denizens of wherever sleep paralysis demons live, and handled platforming with no death plane, and even homing grenade launchers with no way to escape them. Surely, you are now steeled and hardened to overcome any more challenges this weird LSD trip has to throw at you. Right? What? Where is this place? There's no music. The atmosphere has just completely changed. Mr. Beaker's left the building. It's just me now. Me, a handful of enemies, and the long twisting road of the desert plains. I made short work of these enemies, and I can see the exit, but the desert, it's calling me. And my curiosity is getting the better of me, so I suppose I'll begin my descent into the unknown. The journey has been long and empty, a deliberate test of my patience, I'm sure. Whatever lies in wait at the end, it wants to know what I'm willing to give to see it. The isolation has given me time to think, was this all just a ruse? Was this game just a grand scheme to cover up something far more sinister, only meant to be seen by those with the willpower to make it as far as I have? I've been walking for what feels like an eternity, and it's too late to turn back now. Whatever pit of hell I found myself in has already claimed me, and I'm just at the whims of its mercy. Minutes, hours, days have gone by, and something has finally began to reveal itself. My heart is pounding. I was right. Something was waiting for me. I can see a blurred amalgam of shapes staring back at me. The silence now cutting through the air with the same blade of anticipation that penetrates my chest. The more this shape begins to emerge from the dust, I find myself having more questions than answers. There's no point looking back now. I've flown too close to the sun. Whatever fate befalls me is about to unfold. All this time to think has just been getting me to remember all these fond memories of my family and friends. All the great memories, the achievements, the failures. I always did feel unaccomplished, but I guess none of it really seems so bad anymore. This time, I'm ready. Whatever lies before me, I have to face it. This is it. Damn, that's a big dog. Hell yeah. Well, that was weird. Time to go back, I guess. This game has honestly done things to my brain that I don't think any other game has managed to accomplish. No game has ever made me, a man who has never touched drugs in his life, question whether or not he is currently on drugs. Multiple times. In the span of 2 hours. But look, don't think I don't understand what this is, okay? As someone with a degree in games design, this is very clearly just practice with the extra steps of going through the process of putting it on the PlayStation Store. You practice your skills on one project, you see what you're capable of, you find a niche, you make better games, right? Right? What the fuck is this? Newtonian Invasion. Oh, I'm sorry, Inversion. This game came out 2 years after Lady in a Leotard with a Gun. Clearly, the years of hard work and practice went somewhere, although that somewhere was probably like a round trip to Vegas or something, because it definitely was not in his skills as a game developer. Your goal in this game is to, I don't know, find a bathroom, I guess? Look at that goddamn walk cycle. That is the walk of someone who has been holding one in for several hours. You know, I'm beginning to think this game developer does actually have some talent here, because never in a million years would I be able to create something this bewilderingly abstract. Like, hello? What is any of this? Just beginning, huh? You're telling me there's more of this? Not a single thing about this game makes any goddamn sense. Like I get what this is, but what is this? What is a Newtonian? Is this a Newtonian? Are they called that because they're named after Isaac Newton and they can control the direction of their gravitational pull? I guess that kind of makes sense, but, you know, everything else? Nuh-uh. But there's really not much to say about this game other than having to come to grips with the fact that it exists as a concept and we all have to sleep knowing that knowledge. Like, I've played through the whole thing and there's just no change in the environment noteworthy enough to cover this any further. Like, it is literally just walking and inverting your Newtonians as advertised. I just wanted to add this as a little addendum to the video because there are more of these games out there and they are all equally as insane as Lady in a Leotard with a Gun, the first game I ever completed 100%. Thank you so much for watching, and maybe I'll see you soon. Oh, by the way, this is the dude's most recent game. It's a side-scroller, and this is the art it uses. I have the highest of hopes.